If you want to win pick'ems for the Set 13 Tactician's crown, well, you're in the right place. My name's Lee. I am a TFT commentator and content creator, specifically covering TFT esports, and there's nothing more that I love than just to talk some TFT esports and look at the global landscape and see where things lie. And thankfully, Riot puts together a great thing for us to engage with this tournament and also have some fun with it, maybe even win some rewards. There's some great Chibis on the line, so I want to do everything I can to inform you and help you make the best decisions you can when making your pick'ems, so let's dive into it. So if you just search in your Google search bar TFT pick'ems, you will find this website, the TFT Tactician's Crown. The pick'ems right here. You'll be able to sign in on the top corner, and you will be able to make your picks now. And there's some great rewards. If you're top 50, you get the Chibi Zoe and a bunch of other things, including treasure tokens and icons. Top 25, you get the Chibi Mumu, which obviously is a fan favorite. And then you can even get multiple Chibis and the ultimate grand prize with top 1. 500 treasure tokens, all of these different Chibis, including the salmon, what is it called? Salmon Docat. It's the best. So you're going to want to do well in this. So you head over to this website, you get logged in, and you are able to see all of these categories. Some of them revolving around players, which is many of these top 3. This is talking about who will make it through different things, who will win the tournament possibly, what regions will do successfully, and then also talking about win rate players and also just some normal stuff like minimum health, longest game, 3-star 5 costs, all those things. And I think where we're going to start is with the regional rankings. Now, these are actually way more important than they were in the past. These actually drive which regions get extra slots to the Tactician's Crown. And so last year, if we take a look at Liquipedia, thank you to all of those who update Liquipedia. If I look at Magic and Mayhem from last set, we'll be able to scroll down and see regional rankings. As you can see here at the end of the Swiss stage, China had the lowest AVP at 4.8, which means they kind of lose a spot because all 3 of these other regions gain 1. China sends 10 people to the World Championship, EMEA 9, Americas 9, and APAC 12. One because of title winning the World Championship, and also because they get another one from this AVP ranking. And so that has a lot of weight to do with the regional ranking this year. And I think this is part of a larger conversation because this isn't just about one player. We all think that Dish Soap has the capability to win the World Championship. He's done it in the past. He can do it again. We all think that Double 61 can do the same thing. We all think that Title can do the same thing. We all think that Lilo can do the same thing because they've done it in the past. These high performers are great. They help bring up the regional AVP. But you have to look at the entire roster in order to make your proper decision. And so one easy way to do that, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see this returning players tab. And one of the things that is just a general rule of thumb is if you have more experience, genuinely, you'll do better. And so for this competition, we'll see that we have all these country flags on the top. And if we sort by country, we'll notice one thing specifically that I want to call out. Of the 10 players from China, only 3 of them have World Championship experience, with the most experience being Lilu at 3. And so for me, that means that although some of these players that are first time may have high highs, I don't think that they are going to claim their spot as a region above the rest. So I would be putting China at 4. Now, China historically has been a very good region. They have some of the best players of all time, and I'm not talking bad on any of them at all. I'm saying as a field, I'm not confident in CN being able to move up their entire field to take that AVP slot back. And if I'm using that logic, I need to use that logic the other way as well. The most experienced region is this EMEA roster. If we take a look at this EMEA roster, we can see that only 2 of these players have not been to Worlds before. Kevin Parker and Experion, who are both awesome players by themselves, but are just new to this world stage, is far different than China, who has majority of their players being new to the Tactician's Crown. And so for Double 61 to be back here, who obviously has 6th and is tied with Title for the most returning World Championships. They have 3 other players that have been here for their 3rd time, and then 3 other players that are here for their 2nd time, I would be confident in saying that EMEA will take this top spot in the regional rankings. And if we look at the Americas, we have some really high highs. We have Dish Soap with 4, and obviously being a Tactician's Crown winner in set 11. Yuso Lucas, 4th time, Bio's 3rd time, Wasian's 4th time, and Spencer's 3rd time, alongside Dank Memes, who made it for back-to-back sets now, and alongside 3 new competitors. If we compare that to the APAC region, we'll see something similar. Title and Bintum are absolute staples of the Tactician's Crown. Title obviously being the only 2-time winner of the event, but Bintum being here 5 times and not having that crown quite yet makes him a very formidable competitor. But if you look across the bottom, let me move my face cam here. You look across the bottom, you'll see that we have 5 first-timers here for APAC and 4 of these 2-time representatives. Ironbog is now a back-to-back winner of the APAC regional, and I think that I value that very highly. And I think one thing that does help APAC as well is there's a larger sample size. There are 12 competitors here, which will raise or just normalize their AVP because they have more players to have input into that. And so I would value them fairly highly because of that as well. But I do think, and this is maybe a little bit of NA bias, I think that Americas will take that spot over APAC here. Now, I do really think that these are a toss-up. I think it could really depend on how a lot of the Americas players do, because there's less of them than APAC. And so if Americas are struggling a little bit, it'll be quite easy for them to move down. This is the list I would lock in if I were basing it purely on set championship experience and kind of what I would expect from these players. EMEA being that top spot, Americas probably some bias for me. The APAC region at 3 and CN at 4 just because of lack of experience. Next, let's talk about some of these more probably objective ideas. If we look at number of day 3 games, and if you're not familiar with the World Championship, it is a format called Checkmate. Checkmate format means as soon as the players reach 20 points, if they win a game, they win the World Championship. One of the most unique ones we have is when Title won back in set 9. Title went on this crazy run to win in 4 games. He went 4-1-1-1, no one could touch him, and it was absolutely insane. We do see some familiar faces here too. Wet Jungler and Wasian Iverson both being in that top 3 as well. So close, but Title took it in just 4 games. That is the minimum amount it could take for someone to win the World Championship. And so you're looking at this, you see 4 here. Well, that is the minimum it would take. It would be crazy for that to happen again, but I do want to call out, it did happen twice this set already in both of the Chinese regionals, which is the TOC and the JOC, one for mobile circuit and one for the PC version. Both of those ended in 4 games. So maybe it's not as uncommon as we would like to think. But if we continue to look at this historically, we scroll down here, we see that the grand final Title won last set in 6 games, and the one before this, we see that Dish Soap won the title in 5 games here. So if I were to be a betting man and were we to put my stake on this, I think anywhere between 5 and 7 is common. You're kind of just doing a little bit of a coin flip here. I think this is a very competitive field. And again, day 3, we'll see a little bit more. But I would bet 6, but I could easily see 5 or 7 being the result as well. It's just clearly a bell curve up and down of your odds there. And so it's a little bit of a shot at the dartboard. So day 3 games has been locked in. We've looked at regional rankings. Let's look at the win rate player for this event. Who will be the player to achieve the highest win rate during this competition? Now, this one is going to be really hard to pin down, but we do have some data that can help us make a good decision. If we head over to some of these data, this is just from regional competitions. We are able to see some of the placements and different things. If you remember, Dish Soap had a crazy run, only having 1 bot 4 in all regionals, and so you'll see a 94.4% top 4 rate, but a very low win rate. And so what we are looking for specifically, though, is that win rate. And we see some people that have won many games. Fallhaup and Ironbog from APAC. We see Tardaman from EMEA. We see Wage and Iverson from NA. The highest of all, Guan from China. A bit of a lower sample size than some of the rest. And 44 here from Fire. So a lot of our Chinese players are doing quite well in this category. But again, you can only choose one. And so all of those players I listed will be pretty good selections here. But I think I'm going to go with one of my favorites, and maybe this is a spoiler for later. I am going to go with Ironbog. Ironbog will be my choice for APAC. He has won back-to-back regionals. He did not as great as he would have expected last year at the World Championship, and now is back once again. I think a lot of the nerves are gone, and he will be able to clutch up and take that spot. So let's look at the crystal ball then. Are you the god of predictions? Choose the players that will be in the top 3 of the Into the Arcane Tactician's Crown at the end of the event. So I need to pick a winner, I need to pick a second place, and I need to pick a third place. But we'll come back to that. Grand Final. This will open up later on. We'll be able to sort the Grand Final as it comes, and so we'll know the top 8, and then we will sort them later, and we are able to take that guess at that point. Let's keep looking down here at some of these just more objective ones. 3-star 5 costs. How many legendary units will we see during the event of 3-star variation? This is so rare. I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility of having one because of how prevalent Chem Baron is right now and some of these other crazy cash outs and loot sub and other portals or like Warwick's or whatever can give a bunch of random stuff. I personally am in the camp of 0, but I love content, and so 1 is probably a good bet if you want to have some fun with it, but I think if you're looking to win, 0 is probably the most likely choice. We can continue on as well with the longest game. Now, this is one that obviously it says 7-1 is the lowest one you can get to. 7-1 or previous is obviously going to happen in most games, but we're not asking about most games. We're asking about the longest game, which will it go to? And I think one thing to talk about for this set is the existence of the 6-cost Mel, which allows people to survive a little bit longer than normal. And so because of that, I am in favor of 7-3. I do think we'll absolutely get the 7-1, most definitely 7-2. But 7-3 is a little bit of a gamble from me, so I'd be between 7-2 and 7-3 as the longest games played, but I'm going to roll with 7-3. The shortest game, though, the shortest game possible. Well, there's things like Powder's Wind-Up Monkey that takes away 10 HP from all players, which impacts this set a lot. And we often see games end around this stage 6 carousel. I'm going to say, because this is the shortest game finish, if we get a perfect storm, we get somebody stomping the lobby, we get a Powder Wind-Up Monkey, I think we can end before that carousel at 6-3. I think 6-5 is a safe choice as well for a normal game. 6-2 is a little bit more risky, but I don't think we'll see anything end in stage 5 or at 6-1. I think we'll either be at 6-2 or 6-3. And minimum health. Personally, I think this is an easy one. Minimum health on a win, counting all games during the event, with Chem Baron existing, with Mel existing. I think this is an easy choice for 1 HP or up to 3, which allows us to have a little bit of flexibility with, you get a Chem Baron cash out at 3 HP, well done. You're going to go win out. So now that we have some of these objective ones done, we've looked at win rate player quite a bit. I chose Ironbog for that one. We've looked at the 3-star 5 costs. Grand Final will be unlocked later. You see that date is a little bit later. That'll unlock in 3 days. We've looked at day 3 games. We've looked at our regional rankings. Now, let's look at our group stage. Who do I think will make it to the top 8? Currently, I'm still a little bit ahead, so I can't actually use the positions and things here on the screen. All the players are loaded in, but I can't move them into this thing. So we're going to head over here to my fancy spreadsheet that I use for casting prep with Counterfeit for this weekend. I'm on the alt lobbies, and I'm very excited about that to be able to talk some TFT. So I'm going to go through here and kind of list some standouts for you guys that I would consider. I think Double 61 is absolutely somebody that we should all consider. Double was a set champion back in the day. He has consistently been at the top. He is one of the best players in the world. No doubt that he is one of the favorites. And I think I would put Lakoko alongside that here from EMEA. Lakoko is having a crazy set, was able to drop one of the highest performances ever on day one of their regional competition, their Golden Spatula in EMEA. And so these two are my big standouts from EMEA. And I would throw in maybe a little bit more of a dark horse in Noel, who is a final lobby member at Vegas. But I think Noel really has a lot of that competitive experience. This is his second time on the world stage. And I think he's got a lot to prove. And so he might be somebody to look out for. Let's move on down to China to take a look at some of my favorites from here. It's impossible to rule out Lilu, who made it through the CN qualifier. Basically what it was is a last chance for these players, and he was the last spot in that. But he is a previous world champion. He has performed very well throughout the sets and will do so again here. I think another person to call out is Guan and Li Tuchuan. These guys absolutely beasted during their regional competitions and now are on this stage trying to reclaim that title and move all the way up to set champion as well. So these two are some of my favorites from China. Looking down at APAC title, going for his third title would be insane. Being able to be a 3-time champion while no one else is 2-time is something that I don't think will happen. It would be crazy if it did, and it would be amazing to watch greatness, but he's definitely not somebody to rule out making that final lobby. I think alongside Bintam and Ironbog specifically, these are two of my favorites for the entire competition. This is Bintam's 5th Worlds. He's always at the top, consistently competing. He's got the great name of a team of T1 next to his name. Definitely someone that we should watch out for. But I think one of my favorites for the tournament overall, and who also, spoilers, will be in my crystal ball as well, is Ironbog, winning back-to-back APAC regionals, which is the largest player base, which is arguably, and many would say, the best region in all of TFT right now. He's someone to look out for. And so right now we have these 3 from APAC, because you can never rule out title. I do think an honorable mention to Maris, who is quite good as well from Vietnam. Looking at the Americas, Dish Soap, obviously heavy favorite. Wasian Iverson, obviously heavy favorite. World finalist before, world champion before. And so these two guys are obviously beasts. I do want to make a call out. I think Dank Memes is primed for a run. I am a big fan of his, and I think that he can make a big splash here at this Tactician's Crown. I want to shout out Issa Lucas, who's kind of been waiting for their breakout on this big of a stage as well. They've been here many a times, and so they are quite used to it, but not quite where I think it is. Also, Vitality Prestovit, who I think has prepped harder than probably anyone else in this competition. It's just a matter of if he can prove it here on the world stage. Not saying he can't win it all, but definitely wouldn't be somebody that I would call my favorite. So if we sort this sheet, we take a look at all 11 of my favorites. Who am I choosing? I like to do some regional representation because generally we have a lot of players from different regions. But I do think I'm going to knock out 2 previous set champions right now. Lilu and Title will not make it to top 8, in my opinion, for this Tactician's Crown. I don't think that Lilu has had the best set, and I just don't. Listen, we say this about people all the time. Is like sometimes your luck runs out, and I think for Title here, that is not going to be a back-to-back world championship for him, and not going to be his third. And so I would rule them out. And I also think that I look at Bintam and Ironbog as more heavy favorites. Now we're down to 9, which means I need to knock out 1 more competitor. And why not just make it even? 2 from EMEA, 2 from China, 2 from APAC, 2 from the Americas, which means someone has to go. And I think we're going to keep the country representation going. I think Dank Memes will not make the final lobby, and instead we'll have Wasian and Dish Soap giving Americas all of the hope to win this competition. And so all of these players are awesome and great at winning events in the current set as well. And so these are my top 8. But who's going to win it all? Who's going to win it? Where's that crystal ball that we're talking about? we're looking at this, the crystal ball. Who's going to be the set champion? Who's going to be second place? Who's going to be third place? Well, I'm here to tell you, the title's going back to APAC. I think that Ironbog will win this tournament. There's so many players. There's 40 players to choose from. And of all of them, this is the player that has shown the most recent consistency in winning tournaments. And I think last set championship was a little bit of a fluke for him. And so Ironbog, you are my favorite to win the whole thing. I do think that we're going to have a runner-up from China. I think it's going to be Guan. And I think that third place will be Weijin Iverson. And so if I were to choose a crystal ball, this would be it. Ironbog is our winner, Guan as second place, and Weijin Iverson at third. I think Dish Soap will be close behind there at checkpoint, but not able to quite put it together in the last game alongside Double 61 and some of these other players. But Ironbog, I have a lot of faith in this guy. I think he's consistent. I think he is absolutely crushing this set, and I think he will continue to. Thanks for watching this video. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at CLETFT. I post a lot of content there about Worlds, about esports, covering the Americas, covering the world, and it would be great if you drop a follow there. Let me know how I influence your pick'ems, and if they're terrible, it's not my fault. It is, though. Have a good one, guys. The championship will start on Friday at 8 a.m. EST, which is where I am in America, and I will be at Lobby D. If you want to look at some of the alt lobbies, if some of your players are going to be in that one, feel free to hop on over. Me and Sir Black P will be holding it down there. The main broadcast on the official TFT channel will be awesome. We have some great friends that are on there as well. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you're able to win some Chibis. Have a good one.